We have talked about this so many times because it's like with the red flag laws. We're being promised this will stop suicides. This will stop all of the people with gun violence. This is the answer. The government just needs a little more power. It needs just a little bit more of your money, and you will be safe. And when she says, we are losing thousands of people every year to gun suicide, that is true. That has nothing to do with her law. That has nothing to do with its constitutionality. It has nothing to do with the growth of the power of the government. That's thousands of people who thought they had no way out, who were suffering. That's true. And we need to help those individuals as best we can. 45,000 people a year. We need to help them. That doesn't mean grow the power of the government. The government has nothing to do with the individual. Maybe the state does, your local community do. You have a massive impact on that, not the federal government. She goes on to say, we can and we must solve this for the public, for this public health crisis, which has taken so many lives. No, the government shouldn't be involved. The government doesn't have a right in individual health. And if the government is solving your personal problems, then you don't have any rights. You don't have any freedom. This is a back end to authoritarianism. There's this portion right here that really gets me. Allows an individual described in paragraph 1 to set up 5 electronic email addresses to be contacted if 1. The individual attempts to purchase a firearm from a licensed importer, manufacturer, dealer, while the name of the individual is in the database, or the individual requests removal of his or her name from the database. So, do you have the same emails of when you were 18? When you're 30? Do you remember all the passwords to all those email accounts that you had when you were 18, when you're 30? So the federal government's going to try and reach you to say, hey, you can go through this process, all this paperwork, all these certifications that we need to be able to get that firearm to protect yourself only if you respond to the emails that you had when you were 18. I'm going to use the example of a woman who's 5 foot tall. No, you know what? A 5'4" woman, about the national average. She weighs about 135 pounds, about the national average. Okay? She's been through all the classes, and the federal government has been able to put up signs on the buses and the trains. They've given grants to various cities and school systems to teach you that if you're feeling bad, you should fill out this form. It's real simple. You can change it anytime you want. Fill out this very simple form that says, I give up my right, my Second Amendment right to be able to protect myself. And the government, by the way, is protecting you with 22,000 gun laws so criminals won't commit crime. She was in one state, now she's in another state. This is, she's 20, let's call her 25, 26, 27. She's now going into, let's say she wants to be a teacher and they put her in her inner city school and she's living in that community because she wants to be a part of the community of the kids she's going to help. And this is a low income area, which usually means higher crime. And they defunded the police and they instituted bail reform. So those criminals, they're not on bail, they're not in jail, they're out in the community. They've released 1/3 of the prisoners from jail, like John Fetterman has said. So we have the New York bail reform. We have John Fetterman's idea of releasing 1/3 of all the criminals. Crime is up. They defunded the police, which is a progressive idea as well. And she wants to protect herself. So she decides to get a firearm, to get trained, so that she'll be able to protect herself as she's in that community so she can better help the kids in that community while protecting herself. For men that are on average, about 6 inches taller than her, on average, about 50 to 75 pounds heavier than her. They will be physically intimidating to her. It's now been 8-10 years since she graduated high school when she decided that she wanted, for whatever reason, to do what the government said, because the government promised they were going to make her safe. And she tries to buy a firearm. And the government sends out an email to her 5 emails that she had when she was 18. to email accounts that no longer exist, possibly with companies that no longer exist. By the way, how many people remember what their AOL account is? Do you remember? What about your Netscape mail? Do you remember that one? MySpace? So she doesn't even know what they were. She didn't get that notice. Who's going to tell her, oh, you got to talk to the government? Let's say that there's a gun owner out there who says, you know what, they denied you. And he just runs down the list. Gee, were you ever a terrorist? No. Did you ever commit a felony? No. Did you ever give up your right to own a firearm? Oh, you know what? Yeah. I remember something like that. Back in high school, they were having some kind of fundraiser. It seemed like a good idea. I was emotional back then. So that's what it is. Okay, here's the thing. Go out, since the government won't tell you why, because all your emails, you don't have those access to that anymore. You need to contact the Attorney General of the United States. You need to get a bunch of forms filled out. And you have to have them certified by a couple of different doctors that all say that you're in your right mental state. And then you have to submit it. It's going to take them about 3 months to review that. And then 21 days after that, they'll be able to give it back to you. Now, what if that woman's saying, well, I'm being stalked now. I have a domestic abusive ex-partner. I'm being given threats online. What am I going to do about protecting myself until then? See, this is how they harm women. I'm giving you a hypothetical. I'm trying to give you a scenario so that you can see this potentially hurts more people over time than it helps. Because it's not about helping people. It's about denying them the Second Amendment rights. It's about denying them their freedom. About making it such a burden to ever exercise your rights and freedoms that you will never do it. That you will never get your freedoms back. They will put so many hurdles in front of you that you will never recapture your freedom again. Maybe you think my examples are too extreme, but we know on its face, as Representative Massey had pointed out, it's unconstitutional. It's untested and unproven. We know that because Representative Jayapal has already stated that. And that's her reason to sell it to you, because it's untested, unproven, but she's very excited about it.